Thank you for your patience, everyone on Zoom. Thank you for your patience and for gathering here in the Rotunda this morning. Namaste and hello. I'm Padma Kuppa, the state representative for the 41st House District. I represent the cities of Troy and Clawson, and I'm here for our second Indian American Legislative Day. Everybody would like to have a seat. And I just want to acknowledge our silent tech team in the background, Karma Carrera and Portia Chana. If we could stop the video, and yeah, thank you so much. I'm Padma Kuppa, the state representative for the 41st District representing Troy and Clawson. I'm the first Indian immigrant in the state legislature, but before me, there was an Indian American that blazed the trail, Representative and former Democratic leader, Sam Singh. When I came to the Capitol in 2019 and looked out my window of the Hob, and also when I came into the Capitol every week, I would see different groups coming to advocate on issues that were important to them. And one group that I saw missing was the Indian American community. And so as I formulated this idea, I went to two good friends, Chandru Acharya of South Asian American Voices for Impact, and also Anand Kumar, miindia.com and MI India Foundation. And I asked them, and I went to Anil Kumar, who had encouraged me to stand for public office and who had also recently become the Board of Governors member for Wayne State University. And all of them acknowledged the need for our community to get involved, for the Indian immigrant community to realize the power of advocacy and to come to the state capitol to advocate. And so we did the first Indian American Legislative Day on National Day of Higher Education. And we acknowledged the work of three amazing Indian Americans in the space of higher education. Satish Udupa, who was the acting president of MSU, Michigan State University, the Go Green, and also Virendra Maudgil, the president of Lawrence Technological University in Southfield, who is retiring this year. And last but not least, Dr. Kumar himself, who is on the board of Wayne State University and has a passion for that school as well. So today we're here for our second event. Seems like a decade ago since we've crossed the pandemic, but we are here in limited numbers due to the constraints, and we're here also virtually because this is something that we learned, how to use Zoom and go live on YouTube. And so we have these wonderful technical folks helping us in the background. I want to turn it over to Sam, but I also want to acknowledge that there are two representatives here today besides me in this building, Shri Thanedar from District 3, an Indian immigrant like me, and Representative Ranjeev Puri from Northville, Canton area, who is from District 21, and they will both be speaking as well. I'm going to turn it over now to Sam to take over.
Good morning, everybody. It's an honor and pleasure for me to be here today. I appreciated the opportunity 2 years ago to MC this event, and pleased to be back. I want to first introduce our first speaker, who will come and show us a video. And before that, I do want to at least bring up the two representatives that were acknowledged by our Representative Kuppa to say a few remarks. So actually first, if we could have Ranjeev Puri, representative from the 21st District, to come up to make some brief remarks.
Thank you, former leader Singh. It is so nice to be in person. It's so nice to not do this over Zoom and see some faces. And as Representative Kuppa mentioned, we had our first event a year ago. And so what I think is really interesting for us as a room full of a lot of engineers and small business owners is what's changed from then is we had one sitting representative back when that last event happened. And now we have three. And so that's a 200% ROI on an advocacy day. And so I think representation absolutely matters. And so I know I wear that badge with a tremendous amount of honor to be representing our community and all of Michigan's communities here in the legislature. And I think it's important that we continue to find ways to continue to engage our communities. And so I applaud Rep. Kuppa and Rep. Thanedar for helping to organize this event. I think that this is really great. And it's not done without building allies. And so I do want to point out a couple of representatives here from the APA caucus here in the legislature. And so we have Representative Kolazar, who represents Plymouth and Northville. And then we have Representative Julie Brixey. And so thank you all for your support. And I think I'll hand it over to Representative Thanedar.
Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody? Thank you. Thank you for being here. It feels a special day today with the Indian community of Michigan here in the Capitol building. This is a beautiful building. We call it People's House. Isn't it a beautiful building? Yeah. And I am so honored. I'm so honored to work here every day. Being an immigrant, you know, I came to the United States when I was 24 years old, wanting to help my family come out of hard financial times. And I was here when I was to get about $300 a month stipend. And I would take $75, send it home every month so my mother could put food on the table. 6 sisters and a brother back in India. And that's how I started my life here in this great country of ours. And the amazing opportunities that we got. And sometimes it feels like those opportunities, the access to American dream is no longer available to many people. And I entered politics primarily to help others achieve those American dreams, their ambition, and their financial future. And that's what brought me to politics. I'm here working every day. And I want to thank Rep. Kuppa, who tirelessly worked on this event. My senior rep, and I look up to her advice, and I look up to her to work together in this great house. So I want to announce our co-host for this event, 2 representatives, Representative Matt Kolazar, who is co-hosting, and also Representative Christine Morse. With that, I welcome you and thank for all of the Indian communities who helped this make this event a success. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Representative. I also wanted to acknowledge a couple more elected officials who are on the Zoom. I want to thank Representative Lori Stone and Representative Nate Shannon for their support. And then as well, I want to acknowledge that Democratic leader Donna Lazinski was here at the beginning of the program. And so thank her for her support as well. Next on our agenda is a friend of this group here, as well as the broader Indian American community. He's been an activist, an organizer, has brought us together, and it's my pleasure to introduce Anand Kumar, who has brought us together electronically over the years through the My India portal, and to make a few remarks, please.
Thank you, Sam, and good morning, all. We are now presenting an 8-minute short video about Indian Americans in Michigan. It's about the arrival timeline, diversity in faith, arts and culture, our food, and more importantly, the roles we individually and collectively play in making Michigan a great state. Thank you.
for all. May we be drenched with colors of compassion for all. May we rejuvenate our commitment to all, regardless of who we are, what we wear, how we speak, how we love, and how we live, in humility and grace to cherish this life. May we leave a beautiful legacy of inclusion for all. This is the hope that we bring on a better, kinder world for all, to soothe us so we feel and see life's beauties instead of getting mired in whose world is the best of all.
Thank you, Anand and your team for putting that video together, and appreciate the opportunity to tell the story of the Indian American community here in Michigan. Well, this next part is why we're here, to recognize and honor 3 Indian Americans who have blazed a trail here in the state of Michigan. And it is my honor and privilege to start off by recognizing somebody that this community has worked with and known for a very long time in the state of Michigan through state government, and that's Raj Wiener. Raj, yes, please. When we were talking about all the accomplishments that Raj has provided through her leadership over the years, a lot of the things that we take for granted today are things that she led while she was in state government. And so let me first tell you, as she got to state government, she is a graduate of Saginaw Valley State University. From when she graduated from Saginaw Valley, she went to work for Congressman Bob Traxler for 8 years. From there, she entered state government, becoming the deputy director of the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulation, eventually the chief bureau for health facilities in the Michigan Department of Health, and then in December of 1987, becoming the director of the Michigan Department of Public Health, and being one of the top appointees of Indian American background, not only in the state of Michigan, but in the entire country. And so when we talk about the work that she did through the department, like I said, a lot of the things that we take for granted today were started under her tenure and leadership. The first minority health report was created during that period of time. Today, even as we talk about the COVID response and the impact, the disproportionate impact it's had on minority communities, it was that report that was groundbreaking at the time that is helping us understand those disparities that are here today. When you think about tobacco, people would smoke in buildings, people would, you'd see advertisements throughout the state. Raj and her team were instrumental in making sure that we banned public smoking in public buildings. The Joe Cool Camel that was in advertisements, those were banned from billboards here in the state and eventually the country. And the tobacco-free Michigan and the eventual settlement was started and then led by some of her work as she left state government as well. In Michigan, we had a tragedy where a young 4-year-old boy was poisoned by mercury as their family painted their home. And Raj and the department, along with other groups nationally, pushed the EPA to ban mercury from paint. Again, another groundbreaking thing that came from the state of Michigan and from her work. When you take a look at the Detroit water system, Detroit air quality, she fought for those things. She expanded Medicaid to make sure that women were eligible for prenatal care under Medicaid, first in the country. And now that's something that we just did last year through the leadership of our governor is we gave 12 months of postnatal care through Medicaid. Again, that was groundbreaking at the point in time. And there's a variety of those types of accomplishments that Raj has had over the years. And so when she left state government, her and her husband formed Wiener Associates, a law firm that was focused on a variety of issues like healthcare, the environment, but also did advocacy and lobbying for the state of Michigan. She was also a majority owner for a minor league hockey team for a period of time. And so it has been recognized over the years for her service. So has received a number of awards, including her alma mater's Distinguished Alumni Award, as well as now serves on the Board of Trustees for that organization appointed by Governor Whitmer. And I just want to say one very quick thing. When I was graduating from Michigan State University and was interested in a career of politics as a young Indian American, I was told, you need to go sit down with Raj Wiener. And so I had lunch with Raj and Rick Wiener. They provided a great amount of time, advice, and support. And as a young person, getting involved, having that kind of guidance was helpful as I started off in my first campaign. And so I want to thank you for taking that time. And I want to say on behalf of my wife, Carrie, and myself, we are proud to call you a friend, and we've enjoyed getting to know you and your family very well. And so on behalf of our group here today, we have a proclamation for you, Raj, and please come up and accept this proclamation, as well as give us some remarks.
Oh, okay. Adjustments for a short person. Thank you, Sam Singh. You have given us many first proud moments, and we thank you, and it is a joy to watch your young family growing. A warm namaste to everybody here. A warm namaste to our Attorney General, fighter of all people. Thank you for being here. Dr. Merlin Mondal, well, she arrived here in the 1960s. She's 92 years old. And after 4 decades of professorship at the university, she's still an active matriarch of Saginaw's Indian community. And she's here, my beautiful mother. Respected mensch of all decency in government and politics, my husband, Rick Wiener, is here. Friends, Dheeraj Shah, who was acting insurance commissioner, and Asha, both very active in the Lansing diaspora, are here. Thank you, Representative Padma Kuppa. We are both Hyderabadis. my mother taught at Stanley Girls High School, where you attended. We should tell our stories in our own words, because experiential knowledge matters. And because legacies should bring not just pride and connection, but answers, strength, weaknesses, opportunities for future generations. You've heard Vice President Kamala Harris speak of standing on the shoulders of those who went before her. I envision the shallow roots of the giant redwoods that intertwine to hold each other up, like the ancestors' roots intertwined between us, connected below the surface, strengthen and support the shoots sprouting above. When I was named state health director in the 1980s, it was a first for an Indian immigrant in America. And perhaps it was just a coincidence, but I was named Rajkumari because Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, India's first health minister, was my grandfather's friend. But emigrating in the 60s, we sailed past the Statue of Liberty and we disembarked at New York Harbor. At 12 years old, my responsibility was simply to get on that ladder of opportunity that America afforded and climb it. Today, it's the universities, it's the technologies of information that are the new Ellis Island. And they bid welcome, they compete for STEM and STEAM candidates. They say, come, create knowledge, climb the ladder, better the world, win the race. And then we arrived and we learned that, as Shri said, not everybody could access that dream that America represented to the world, because the care infrastructure never got built, because the socioeconomic determinants that are the biggest predictors of health status and academic achievement, and those first two rungs of that ladder of success have been broken. They've been kicked out at the bottom of the ladder for making them inaccessible for people who have been here for many years. When I worked on Capitol Hill, I had the pleasure of dining with US Senator Paul Simon, and he described how when he first arrived in Washington, ready to serve the nation, he assumed that there was some others of they that had responsibility for governance, and very soon realized there is no they. Rather, to assure that government was responsive as it was intended to be for and by and of the people was up to all the people. After all, the American Constitution, a living document, was written back then, 200 some years ago, to require the constant attention and nurturing by those governed by it. And the most nurturing democratic function is voting, because when more people vote, it naturally follows that more people's needs will be addressed than just the few. So we came to climb that ladder of opportunity because we believe the dream for ourselves. But under this Constitution, the dream is for all. As its stewards, is it not then also our responsibility to fix that ladder from bottom to top for everyone, to nurture the whole dream? Because roots not only support the trees, but also nurture the health of the soil around it. And the soil impacts the health of other living things trying to grow in it. And there is no they, it is us. The Indian diaspora here is succeeding, excelling in absolutely every imaginable sector. But our legacy in the American story can be so much greater if we fixed the ladder. I look at the brilliant ladies working in human services in Southeast Asia and Asia. You're doing important work. We need to fix the ladder collectively. All the Indians, we can do it. And in doing so, realize the American dream, not just for ourselves, but for all. My Takuma grandmother gave me a poem that I carried around for years in my wallet. A line reads, "Every star fills the pointed space. Do not doubt your hand held out to help. Walk serene in grace. You are in your needed place." So today, I thank the Michigan Legislative Caucus. You are in your needed place, and I have faith in your mission. Thank you very much. Okay, all right.
Thank you very much, Raj, and again, congratulations, and thank you for your leadership here over the years. It's my privilege to introduce our next speaker, our Attorney General, Dana Nessel. The Attorney General has been doing an incredible job of really bringing the office that is for the people back to the people. And over the last 2 years has done a remarkable job of looking at things, whether it's helping our seniors, taking a look at fraud that has been happening throughout the state, and has taken that leadership and done a wonderful job. And so I know I could read the bio that they've given me, but I know you are short on time, so I'd like us to welcome our State Attorney General, Dana Ness.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's such a thrill to be here in person and to be able to see people's faces. It feels like a million years have gone by, honestly, since we've been able to participate in an event like this, and this is one of my first, so it's very exciting to be here. And I'm thrilled to be able to be included to recognize the contributions of Indian Americans in our state, and to be able to celebrate that together. I will say that as an Attorney General, I take great pride in representing such diverse populations in Michigan, and so many diverse communities around our state. And it is so incredibly important that we take a moment to acknowledge the specific contributions of all of the populations in our state. But it's even more important that we demonstrate our support through our actions. And that is one of the things I've tried to do in my time at the Department of Attorney General. One of the issues that we had, and that I know that the Indian American community is too painfully aware of, is the exponential rise in hate crimes against brown and Black people all around this nation and in this state. And that's why as soon as I took office, I established a hate crimes unit, headed actually by a first generation Indian American, a woman by the name of Sunita Dadamani, who runs that. Now also we've expanded it to the hate crimes and domestic terrorism unit. And you'll probably see her on TV since she's prosecuting the Wolverine Watchmen in the cases involving the plot to kidnap and execute the governor. This speech has gotten very dark. This is supposed to be a celebration, but I can't talk about this without obviously recognizing some of the issues that Black and brown communities around our state have faced, for the efforts that we're trying to make to fight back against that. Another one of the reasons why I thought it was important that I run for Attorney General were the efforts that I saw by the federal government at the time to further marginalize the Indian American community among many other communities. And I remember specifically in one of the many lawsuits that we filed, efforts to stem immigration that was so badly needed and important, and frankly, what makes our country great. And I remember there was an effort, they put together some sort of a task force that involved denaturalization, which was something I'd never heard of before, and never even stopped to think about. The thought that you could take someone who had been in this country for 10, 20, 30 years and had lived a stellar law-abiding life and attempt to strip them of their citizenship. And I remember looking around and thinking, and saying to my wife, who are going to be all our doctors if they're successful in doing this? Because the truth was, I counted it out, and every single one of the doctors that my family sees is an Indian American. Many of them are immigrants or they're first generation Americans. And I don't even know what the medical community would do in our state or any place in the United States if we, denaturalized people that live in our state for no other reason than the federal government at that time trying to make an effort to make Michigan and the United States a little more white is the only thing that I can really think of. And I am so grateful that we have an administration in place in the federal government now that does not subscribe to that sort of racism and the really horrific treatment of immigrant communities that we saw throughout that course of time, and instead embraces diversity and embraces immigration and understands that that, in fact, is what makes America great. And we know that America would never be the place that it is today. Michigan would never be the place that it is today were it not for immigration of all different communities. And the Indian American community has contributed so very much to the state of Michigan. And today is a time that I think we need to understand and appreciate that. So I thank you so much for having me here today to join you in your celebration and share some of the work that we're doing at the Department of Attorney General, and to allow you to know that you have a friend in our department. And should there be anything at all that you think is helpful or important for us to know at the AG's office, you will always find an open door and a willing ear. So please know that. And with that, thank you very much for having me here today, and enjoy a celebration on what appears to be a very hot but wonderful day. So thanks so much for having me. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much, Attorney General, and thank you for being here. Our next award recipient is going to be introduced by Chandru Acharya of the India League of Michigan and the South Asian American Voices for Impact. Also a current MAPAC member, which is the Michigan Association for Asian Americans, as appointed by the governor.
Thank you, Sam Singh. It's a pleasure and honor to introduce a dear friend and an inspiring leader from the Indian American community, Supervisor Mandy Grewal. Mandy Grewal is a multifaceted personality. Has been serving as supervisor of Pittsfield Charter Township since November 2008. She's a resident of Pittsfield Township for more than 25 years and serves tirelessly to implement a master plan vision that balances development and preservation. Mandy Grewal is chair of the Pittsfield Township Board of Trustees and serves on the executive committee of Ann Arbor SPA, where she is co-chair of the public sector committee. Prior to being supervisor, Mandy Grewal served 2 terms as Washtenaw County Commissioner representing Pittsfield Township, during which time she was appointed vice chair of the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners and chair of the Washtenaw County Planning Advisory Board. Mandy Grewal has also served as a commissioner in the Michigan Women's Commission. She has a PhD in urban planning from the University of Michigan. She is also a graduate of the Michigan State University's Political Leadership Program and a graduate of the Senior Executives in Local Government Program at Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government. So we welcome Mandy Grewal.
Very much for those kind words. I am deeply moved and humbled by this recognition, but also very gratified because it links me to my people, my Desi clan. So thank you for your kind generosity in picking a relative nobody like me for this amazing and prestigious award. I stand here today because my parents, Brigadier Gurdeep Singh and Bibi Gurdarshan Kaur Grewal, stood up against patriarchy. I stand here today because their boundless love has allowed me to battle poverty, loneliness, and racism as a patriarchal refugee in the United States. I stand here today because I have a steadfast life partner in Robert Brackenberry, who proudly refers to himself as Mr. Mandy and never tires of filling the many voids I, as countless foreign-born folks like me, who leave home without family and parents, live with constantly.
while my parents and husband give me the strength to speak and live my truth. I stand here today mostly because of my boys, Jay and Veer. Being their mother fuels me to work tirelessly to help create a better world. Having lost my home to my extended family's greed for money, having lost my youth to stitching a safety nest with Robert, one minuscule thread at a time, Jay and Veer came into my life when I had given up hope and made up for all that loss and then some. They are the reason I have forged forward these past 15 years in roles never before held by a naturalized citizen or a woman or a person of color. I have done this despite the negativity and vitriol directed at me for political and racial reasons. They are the future. And I dedicate my work and this recognition to my boys, Jay and Veer. We will be brave like Veer and victorious like Jay in defining a better future for all in these United States of America. Once again, my deepest and sincerest thanks to my Vesi clan for this recognition. God bless. Nanak Naam Chardi Kala Tere Pane Subradda Pala. With Vaheguru's grace, all humanity will prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mandy, and congratulations. Our next honoree will be introduced, and before we go there, I just want to acknowledge a couple people that have stopped by, Representative Kelly Breen and Representative Yusuf Rabi as well. So thank you for your attendance. Our next honoree is going to be introduced by Vital Ani, Troy Board School District Board Member, as well as Vice President of Software Integrity and Testing at Altair Engineering in Troy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vital Ane, and as a Troy School Board trustee, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Troy School District alumni and our favorite 5 p.m. news anchor of Fox 2 News, Roop Raj. He produced and hosted his own TV program at age 14, which landed him on Phil Donahue show. Here in college in Lansing, he was on the air at the CBS and ABC stations. He later anchored the news in Flint, where he did news and weather for 4 years. Then that is followed by 7 years at NBC in New Orleans. He has won an Emmy Award for Best Continuing Coverage for his work leading up to Hurricane Katrina. He has received an Associated Press First Place Award for breaking weather coverage. After 24 hurricanes, including Katrina, he moved back to Detroit in 2009, where an economic storm is brewing. He is an ardent believer in the city's future. During 2020 elections, he was proud to have nailed down 3 exclusive one-on-one interviews with the then candidate Joe Biden, as well as 3 with President Trump, one of which was a 15-minute exclusive in Rose Garden at the White House. After getting access to candidate Kamala Harris in Detroit, he called the White House and requested Vice President Pence for a phone interview. Pence obliged, calling Roop Raj, capping off an extraordinary political season. Roop Raj believes in building relationships with people. He is committed to continuing his connection with our community so that he can bring us stories we won't see anywhere else. Roop is also a public speaking coach and a keynote speaker. At TEDx Detroit in 2019, he headlined with a talk highlighting the gifts of rejection. He lives with his wife, Julie, and his boxer pup, Louise. In his spare time, Roop enjoys cooking, traveling, and reading. Please welcome Roop Raj. Roop couldn't come here, so he is on the Zoom, and he would like to speak from Zoom.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for your warm words.
Roop, could you hold on for 1 second? We're going to try and adjust the volume here.
Sure.
Have him try now.
Should I try now? Can you hear me now?
No, just one more second.
Oh.
Can you try now?
Hi, this is a mic check, testing the mic. How are you? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, let's go ahead.
I want to say thank you for that warm introduction. And it's always nice to be someone else who is a big supporter of Troy schools. It all started there as a kid wanting to do a television show at the age of 14. I was told by a lot of people that I wouldn't be able to do it because there weren't a lot of people who looked like me who were on TV. This was back in 1991. And if you turned on the evening news, you saw Indian females on TV. You just didn't see Indian men on television. And it was interesting because there was a big shortage. And it reminds me of the shortage that they had back years ago of shortage of engineers in this country. That's why my father came to this country, is in 1973, they needed good talent, good engineers. Well, the entertainment, the political field, and government and media also need to have representation of people who look like us and people who can go out there and speak up for the entire community. So I want to congratulate all the lawmakers who are Indian American in our legislature. Representative Kuppa, thank you for inviting me today. Representative Singh, I've known you for many years, and so inspiring leaders in. And so I'm on your shoulders today. I'm just doing my part to follow my passion, but also tell the stories of those who have a voice. And that includes sometimes Indian Americans. So my one urging would be, if you don't like the way something is being shown on television about our culture, and you don't like the way we're being depicted, speak up. Indian Americans are a wonderful group of people, but oftentimes the voice is not loud enough. So when you see something objectionable, call the media, tell them you didn't like it, tell them the real story. I think that's really critical. That's the inside workings of the media. But really about this report, I thank you a million times. So, I told my mom and dad not long ago that I stand on their shoulders. And I get choked up saying that because they supported me so much to become a television anchor and reporter. A lot of people said, I bet your parents didn't support you. They wanted you to be a doctor or an engineer. No, my dad would tell me when I was 11 and 12 years old, if you want to be a TV anchor, man, you have to start now. So he had me read Time Magazine and U.S. News and World Report and write half-page summaries on everything. My mom always made sure that I was at the cable station on time, kind of like a stage mom, making sure my hair was in place, the tie looked good. She supported me 100%, even when I was making no money. And it's on their shoulders to stand here today. And from the support of my wife, Julie, who has been an incredible force in my life. So, we don't do anything alone in the world. You know that, and I know that. So I just want to say to everyone there, thank you very much for this award. I'm so honored, so humbled, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm on a story right now, so I can't be with you, but I feel there in spirit. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled by it. Back over to you.
Thank you very much, Roop. It's good to see you and hear you. We've known each other for years, and just really proud of your accomplishments. Next on our speaker list is Dr. Anil Kumar, who is one of our statewide elected Indian Americans who's on the Wayne State University Board of Governors. Dr. Kumar.
Thank you, Sam. And thank you for the organizers for giving me this greatest honor. And that is of humbly thanking those that are involved. So chronologically, let me start thanking the giants first. Raj, as I hear today more and more, how you have really made a difference in our community. So thank you very much. Sam Singh for starting the initial process in the political process. So appreciate you. Thank you very much. Also would like to thank our legislators, Padma Kuppa, whose brainchild this is of getting us together on this one day a year. Our newly elected other reps, that is Ranjeev Puri and Shri Thanedar. These guys have shown the mettle and come into the political process where we need to be. And of course, I cannot not mention again a great thank you for those that have been awarded today. Again, Raj, Mandy, and Roop. So thank you very much for being here. Let me also thank all of you who have taken the time off your busy schedules and come up over here. I'm sure most of you have driven far, and it's a great honor for us to have you here. And now, of course, I would like to thank those in the organization that made this happen. And starting from the organization, let me start with Savi, with Chandru Acharya. Chandru, thank you. MI India, Anand Kumar. The mix with Hema Rachmalai, and they're doing a fabulous job in the Indian community, both culturally and socially. So we really applaud them. We have the ILA, Rashmi. Thank you very much for doing what you do. And of course, Joe with you, Joe Pediboina. In the AIWA, Prashanti Boina Pali. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I messed up your name a little. The Diva. And of course, the Percy Indian Grill, Ramesh Devaram, for providing the needed things. The event planners, Vital Ann and Anshu Verma, we really appreciate all your planning and process. And the tech team, Karna Kera and Portia Chana. And with this, and most of all, I really would like to thank the Indian community at large, because I've been here for 30 years. And, you know, in the early years of my medical career, you're busy with your children, with your job. I hadn't really opened my eyes to the community. But as I have got into the community, every day our community is making me prouder and prouder to be an Indian American. So thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kumar. I also want to acknowledge George Cook, our legislative director from Governor Whitmer, who is with us here today as well. We are getting, yes, we're getting here to the point of closing our ceremony and our program for today. I do want to acknowledge that we do have the proclamations here signed by the governor for our award winners, and want to thank everybody for coming out today. I do think that there might be a closing video that will be shown. If that is the case, let's show it. And thank you very much for being here today.
I would like to acknowledge two names that were accidentally left out, Alka Srivastav and Savita Mandro from DIVA. Thank you.